The Concord declared that the common law definition of marriage is inconsistent with the Constitution and invalid, as it excludes Muslim marriages. Both the Marriages and Divorce Acts were found to be inconsistent with the Constitution. It was also found that the Divorce Act fails to make provision for the redistribution of assets when a Muslim marriage is dissolved. There are two pieces of proposed legislation on the table. One is a private member's bill by Al-Jama Member of Parliament Hanif Hendricks. The other one is an executive bill which has been prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs. The debate is whether to go for the private member's bill, which will only focus on Muslim marriages, or the inclusive omnibus bill for all marriages that will also cater for married women of all religious groupings. The private members bill, which is an interim relief measure to respond to the Concord judgment, is ready. The Minister of Home Affairs also made his presentation on how far the process was on the marriages bill. However, there were questions on whether the executive bill will be on time to meet the Concord deadline.
The court gave 24 months for the President and Cabinet, together with Parliament, to remedy the defects that are mentioned that this private members bill seeks to address. And as Honourable Hendricks mentioned, that time period ends on the 28th of June, 2024. So this is what is required of us. And unfortunately, we've seen it before. We've had to go to the court again and again to request for extensions. This shouldn't become the norm. It shouldn't become acceptable for us. We have a bill here that is meant to be a temporary measure until such time as the Marriage Act is in place. And the reality is we have pretty much this year and early next year Parliament will start, and then we're going into elections.
There were other questions from lawmakers with regard to the private members bill.
But then on the other hand, the question before us is whether we want to proceed with a private members bill or go with a executive bill as outlined by the minister. And of course, naturally, in my case, I would lean towards the executive bill because it seeks to protect more groups. In other words, it seeks to give more legal certainty to marriages of a variety of groups, whether Jewish, Muslim, or traditional marriages, as the minister outlined.
The ANC also believes that one single bill may be the best option.
And in particular, if you look at the marriage bill, that is going to take care of all women, not just Muslim women. And I'm saying this because even if we had to accept this particular private members bill, what will happen is that you find women from other cultures and other religions seeing themselves excluded. And it's important then to ask ourselves whether we're going to, at that point, then have a separate bill for each of them. But rather you have this one bill that is now going to take care of everything.
But Hendricks disagreed.
Also, the Constitutional Court only dealt with Sharia marriages. For the last 20 years, this has been in our courts, it has been in Parliament, it has been in Home Affairs. No other community came forward, but I'm not correct. The gay community came forward and they got their bill. The civil union people came forward and they got their bill. So there has not been the same urgency as far as the dignity of Muslim wives is concerned. And that's why the Constitutional Court came down very hard on the President, on government and Parliament, including myself, because I'm a member of Parliament.
Hendricks believes that the Concord judgment has been misinterpreted by Home Affairs.
So the Constitutional Court, the Honourable Chair, wanted immediate relief, and the department responded within a week or two with a circular. So that circular, in my opinion, misinterpreted the judgment and further harms the dignity of Muslim women who want to practice Sharia in their marriage. I don't think that was done deliberately. So we have presented a circular that will comply with the tenets of Islam and comply with the Constitutional Court.
The ministry acknowledged the critical role played by Hendricks.
The other thing, Chairperson, it is true that quite a number of matters have been going to court. It might be possible that because of the activism and determination of people like Honorable Hendricks, which he is, the issue of Muslim marriages and the suffering of the women there might have gained prominence more than others because those others do not have a champion. You are a true champion, Mr. Hendricks, but the others did not have.
Motsoaledi also explained what the executive bill hopes to achieve for all marriages.
That we said whatever we're doing, the outcome must reflect three things at all times. The issue of human dignity, the issue of equality, the issue of non-discrimination. Yes, Honorable Chair, we did take a long time, even in the development of white paper, because in some cultures and religions, words like equality are not easily accepted, and we're challenged. We were challenged by certain traditional authorities on the issue of equality, especially among whites. We know we are still, by and large, living in a hugely patriarchal society.
A decision was taken to continue with more engagements before processing any of the bills.
I want the members of the committee to be broader in terms of the thought process when we're going to more deliberate on the decision process, to consider the two presentations, whether we need to move with the private members bill or the executive bill. And Honorable Zell, you're correct that we may need to afford space for members to go and solicit proper and guidance so that when you come back, at least we're able to deal with this matter.
There is now close to 14 months left for Parliament to meet the Constitutional Court deadline to either rectify or develop legislation that would recognize Muslim marriages. Mercedes Besent, SABC News, Parliament.